because someone tried to save a few dollars. So my question is, during the transition period, it says over the first year, people with disabilities will be covered. Will it be easier than the current disability standards and basically make it easier?
Okay. So let's do this one together and let's get this right. Right now, what we've got in Medicare for All is a framework, and it doesn't have the details, and you're right to be asking.
Medicare for All, I've said this on more than one occasion, is not a framework. Medicare for All is a specific bill. There's a secondary bill in the House of Representatives that allows these two things to meet. Sanders' plan is to get it done in budget reconciliation. It is a bill. It is a real thing. Warren is doing two things that are somewhat dishonest here. She's saying it's a framework. It's not a framework. And later on in this, she goes into saying all of the work that needs to be done on the bill and all this other stuff. She is being dishonest when she talks about Medicare for All on the campaign stump. When she's on the debate stage, she argues for Medicare for All. Now, and just to make my point more explicit, I don't want you to think I'm picking on Warren. This is vetting Warren. If my litmus test is healthcare, Medicare for All, then I need to know what her plan is. And she is being deceptive when she gets on a debate stage and argues for Medicare for All, but then you get it in real terms when you talk to her, and she's for all sorts of things. I mean, she could end up with Kamala Harris's plan. We have no idea.
Other things that people have come up with when they're good plans, let's do it. This isn't some kind of contest. I got to think of mine first. It's what's best for the American people.
But this is a contest. This is literally a debate. And in that debate, people are putting up their various healthcare plans for the American public to see and to scrutinize. It is a very big change. And as Biden said, a woman who has a plan for everything doesn't have a plan for one of the most important things in the campaign, meaning the litmus test of what is your healthcare plan? What is your healthcare plan? She argues for Medicare for All, then goes in a different way. Why is this a big deal? Why am I bringing this up? Because my argument has been that her dubiousness on this allows her to float in a way where she will pivot once she get out of the primary. And she will call whatever she's talking about Medicare for All. She's done several smarmy things here, but one is in the way she's using technical definitions. When people say support, oftentimes they're talking about the plan that they're pushing. I support Medicare for All. In people's heads, you are pushing for when you get out of bed in the morning, when you go to bed at night, you will be thinking about how are you going to get Medicare for All passed. I've just shown you in her own words that's not true for her. Her definition of support is, I think it's an okay plan. I can argue for it, yeah. Not, I will push for it and get out of bed in the morning for it. Those are different things. And when she gets on the campaign stage and argues it and says, I'm with Bernie, well, she's not really with Bernie. She's not really with Sanders. Why am I bringing this up? For whatever reason, Sanders, in the various debates, hasn't necessarily shown the distinction that was necessary in dealing with Warren. Warren's plan, for the most part, has allowed her to float under Sanders' wing as if these two quantities are so similar that they are a 1-to-1, and if not a 1-to-1, a 1-to-0.9, in which it's a passable facsimile. Sanders hasn't created the distinction. Now, this has plagued me to no end. I have no idea I don't know what's going on in his head, nor do I know what's going on in his campaign's head. I don't know if they were trying to push him to do so, and he says no. I don't know if the campaign just believes in this kind of kumbaya way of running a race. I don't know if in his heart of hearts, 3 a.m. between him and his God, that he doesn't think he can win, in which case he doesn't want to tarnish the other person who may be able to win and pull the party a little bit to the left. Or for that matter, I don't even know if it's one of those things where he looks at it as, well, we just run in the way that we run and who wins, wins. I have no idea. It plagues me to no end. Sanders doesn't do it. Doesn't mean his lieutenants won't. Bernie Sanders is back. And he just had a rally in Queens that was a barn burner where he had like floods of people. There were over 25,000 people at that rally. It was jam-packed. It was so jam-packed that they could only allow 20,000 people in the rally. and 6,000 or so, maybe more, were essentially on the outside. I'm looking for pictures of it right here. Major crowds. Now, the reason I am bringing up this Bernie Sanders rally, look at all of these people, is because Sanders' speech wasn't the only barn burner speech. AOC's speech was awesome, and I'm going to cover that next. But so was Nina Turner's. Now, I've said that I love me some Nina Turner, and I mean that. Nina Turner got on that stage, and she was absolutely electric and hit all of his notes: criminal justice, health, etc. But she also got her opportunity to absolutely lay into Elizabeth Warren in a way that I have never seen Sanders lay into her. I don't know if Sanders thinks there will be blowback if he does it, but apparently Nina Turner has no such biases. Let's listen to a little bit of Nina Turner lay into some of Elizabeth Warren's weak spots. And it is awesome to listen to. And by the way, she never mentions her name. But you might as well mention her name because everybody knows exactly who you are talking about. Let's hear some Nina Turner. And welcome to the Soapbox. My name is Jamarl Thomas. This is the Progressive Soapbox. Guys, if you dig this content and you find yourself coming back often, please like, share, subscribe. You can always support PayPal Patron. Also, we will be having patron or contributor appreciation tomorrow. I like having my wife with me when I do that show. And she's not able to do it with me today, but she said she will be with me tomorrow. She's committed, so I'm going to go with that. We will be doing it tomorrow, let's say around 6 p.m. Nina Turner. Like I said, it plagues me to no end that Sanders doesn't necessarily bring up and elevate the differences between him and Warren. And Warren's strategy, brilliant as it is, has the flaw that if Sanders ever did that, especially early on, he could create that distinction. But he doesn't do it. The Medicare for All thing is just one distinction. There are several, even the campaign finance stuff. Warren comes out and says, I'm not going to take money in the primary. I will take it in the general. That makes absolutely no sense. She eventually gets to the point and says, okay, I'm not going to take it in the general. And then that same day, her campaign comes out and clarifies, well, I mean, we will be doing these races and we will be doing fundraising with the party, which essentially decapitates the first point. He never brings it up. Fortunately, Miss Nina Turner has no such biases. Let's hear Turner.
That's it, and that's all. What people want is very simple. We want a healthcare system that is not commodified. That's it, and that's all. What the people want is very simple. We must take care of Mother Earth right now. That's it, and that's all. And when I say, Queens, that there's nobody quite like Senator Bernard Sanders, I mean that. We got some folks in mainstream and the neoliberal side who really can't understand the difference. But I'm going to break this down for you. There are many copies. There are people who didn't have the same guts and the same courage as Senator Bernie Sanders to run in 2016.
I put the link for this video at the bottom because I'm going to be interjecting in some of this just to fill in what she's talking about. Sanders wanted Elizabeth Warren to run in 2016. He pushed her to run. She refused to do it. Now, that choice was fait accompli. I mean, Warren in 2013 had already signed a letter to Hillary Clinton pledging her fealty and allegiance, something Tulsi Gabbard would not do and was punished for it. Warren became a darling of the party, gets all of this lavish media attention, essentially, and still has Clinton, who is essentially, because of the loyalty issues, backing Warren, not to mention influence. Her point here is, Sanders, there's nobody like him. He actually had the courage to run. He had the courage to make the space to which all of these people are dancing in now, be it AOC, be it Ilhan, the squad, and Warren. Warren didn't have the guts to do it. Sanders did. That's her point.
There are some people who sat on the sideline when it was hard. There was only one person who stood up to the establishment, and his name is Bernard Sanders. So yeah, we got a lot of copies. There's only one candidate in 2016 who told the multi-millionaires and billionaires in this country, keep your money, I'll raise my money with the people. There's only one candidate who's been marching with the working class people, not because he's running for president, but because it's right. Hello, Marriott workers. Hello, Amazon workers. Hello, Verizon workers. Hello, teachers. Come on, somebody.
Her point is, you didn't have to have a presidential election to have Bernie Sanders to back you up. And that is the only person who was out there on those picket lines. Not because of the presidential election, but because he actually cared about those issues. It dug into him. One last point. Even in this election, you can make the argument that there is only one candidate that is grassroots funded. You can make that argument. And you can make that argument because Warren transported money that was not grassroots funded into her current presidential campaign, meaning she's been tarnished already. She went back on her word at the basis, at the beginning of even when she said, I'm going to do grassroots funding, she was being dishonest. Again, you can call that out. He can make the point that there was only one candidate in this race that is grassroots funded that said, keep your cash. Just saying. You could be a little bit more strident in these critiques. And I'm not talking about the turn, I'm just saying in general. And let me roll this back and I'll shut up and let her do her thing.
That's it, and that's all. And when I say, Queens, that there's nobody quite like Senator Bernard Sanders, I mean that. We got some folks in mainstream and the neoliberal side who really can't understand the difference. But I'm going to break this down for you. There are many copies.
I missed that the first time around. She says there's a lot of people in mainstream and the neoliberal side that can't understand the difference. Well, I'm going to break this down to you. Oh, I love this.
There are people who didn't have the same guts and the same courage as Senator Bernie Sanders to run in 2016. There are some people who sat on the sideline when it was hard. There was only one person who stood up to the establishment, and his name is Bernard Sanders. So yeah, we got a lot of copies. There's only one candidate in 2016 who told the multi-millionaires and billionaires in this country, keep your money, I'll raise my money with the people. There's only one candidate who's been marching with the working class people, not because he's running for president, but because it's right. Hello, Marriott workers. Hello, Amazon workers. Hello, Verizon workers. Hello, teachers. Come on, somebody. And I don't know about you, but I hail from a tradition that says that you will know the tree by the fruit that it bears, and Senator Bernie Sanders bears good fruit. So there are many copies. People want to talk about a framework. People who stand up in other folks' living rooms and say to them, multi-millionaires and billionaires and nothing will fundamentally change for you. Well, Queens, I got a message. If nothing fundamentally changes for multi-millionaires and billionaires, then nothing fundamentally changes for you and you and you and you. We finally have somebody in our lifetime who will be unflinching. That is only special interest our sisters and brothers in Queens. His only special interests are our sisters and brothers in Denmark, South Carolina. His only special interest, hello Flint, Michigan. His only special interest.
I've said I wanted this woman to be my hype woman at my funeral. She is great at this job. And yeah, the framework stuff is directly at Warren. The copy stuff is directly at Warren. Warren is aping Sanders in this primary. That's her political strategy. It seems like her lieutenants or Sanders' lieutenants can call it out. Sanders, not so much. And if you notice, she never mentioned Warren by name, despite the fact that it is very clear that she is talking about Warren. Philip Blair, I always appreciate your analysis, Jamal. Oh, thanks, man. I try. I do my best. Yeah, Warren is awesome as a hype person. All right. I'm going to end this. I wouldn't take issue with Warren so much if I thought she was honest. I wouldn't, honestly. I wouldn't take issue with her if I thought aping Sanders wasn't her strategy, meaning if I thought she was a person unto herself. But it doesn't seem like she is, meaning she's an unknown quantity to me. I have no idea. With the exception of her going after Wall Street, everything else is a crapshoot for Warren. I suspect she'll have the same foreign policy as the typical Democrat. And honestly, with her tethers to Clinton, and even with this notion of the way she's going to fundraise and raise money, she's not getting off the tit in the same way that Sanders runs an honest campaign. They're not the same quantity. But the person, even though I love me some Nina Turner, that ultimately needs to make that argument on a debate stage with a large part of the population watching is Sanders. And I don't know if he thinks Biden and the other people are going to do it for him if she bubbles up too high and he doesn't want to fall back. I don't know what is going on in his head, and I would love for somebody to ask. Up to this point, no one has. But at the very least, he has Nina Turner. Like, share, subscribe. I'll be back momentarily.